here we have the most exquisite beginning of a cathedral ever. This is absolutely gorgeous. Keep going. Yay! That is
Not bad for 3 days, 3 and a bit days.
something like. Now,
We're just going to walk through how to sculpt a new style of brick texture. The same style that we've done in this church over here, for all of these nice faces, and go around the corner and give it some nice little details in the corner as well, just so it has some highlights. So, scratch coat over tin foil over cardboard, a thin next layer of Pal Tiya. You want this to be about as thick as the bricks are going to be deep, because if you make it too thick and you're pushing all the way through to it, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like bricks. It's just got too much depth. And same if you go too shallow, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like the bricks are actually built on top of each other. So having the right thickness is a nice place to start. I'm going to go around the corner here. And for this little test, all I'm going to do is focus within this area around here, and all these edges I'm not going to bother about.
okay.
I found sculpting this style of brick, it's much more fluid to do an entire face at a time, and if you work fast enough you can work within the limitations of time with Pal Tiya, and you can sculpt it. And you can sculpt decently large faces at a time in a single batch. The other thing that I like to do is start with the base up. Wouldn't sculpt the edges and then sculpt these bricks afterwards. You start with the bricks and then sculpt the edges after, because you want the edges to be popped out. So starting with the lowest texture first and then adding up on top of that just builds a realistic depth within it. So I always try and sculpt each face and then an edge. Yeah. So we have two different sizes of this, a large and a small one. This is great for all the bricks that we've been doing up to this point, but this nice small element here works really, really well with this style of brick. We're going to go through and add some nice lines. Make sure they're perfectly horizontal. Don't have them too perfectly even. You want some thin ones, want some thick ones. Slight variation. Get something like that. Then continue it on through this way. Something like that. And then taking again the small edge, the small end of this tool, start punching in. This will start separating the bricks. And you want variation in both the angle of the tool and also how far apart they are. You want some long bricks, you want some thin bricks, you want some tiny bricks like that. You want some ones that just go all the way across. And just try and play with it and try and find a point at which it feels like brick. Something like that. I'll do it on the other side as well. Next thing that I'm going to do, all of these bricks are long and thin, so what I want to do is just find some and give it some variation. So this is going to be one solid square stone like that, and then this one here I'm going to split up so that it becomes two very thin, very long stones like that. And even that just by itself is given it a variation in the stones and in the sizes. It just makes it look a little bit more interesting. And same with this. just as you see fit, whatever looks interesting to you. Best thing about all of this stuff is that there is no wrong way of doing it. Like, all this technique I've just kind of made up, and anybody can do the same. So next, pushing these bricks in have meant that some of the edges in and around here have started to pinch out, and they're starting to pillow, so they're kind of connected in points. So we have this tool here. So it's a nice little curved tool. If you take this and very gently tuck in the edges like that. There we go. And that just prevents them from looking like beanbags, which is not what we're after. Here we go. You don't have to do every single one. Just try and get the major ones. Try and get the ones that stand out, that don't quite look right. Here we go, something like that. Do the same on the other face. I'm just going to stand up here so I can see. Slowly do this. The next thing that I'm going to do is take the small tool again and take this side and just go on the tops of these bricks and separate them and make it look like, again, they're separate bricks. There's no overlap with those lines where we push them in with the other side of this. They're separate bricks, individually stacked on each other. You can go as fast, you can go as slow as you like. Just like that. There we go. Easy as. So, next, and this one changes it quite a lot. I'm going to take again the small end, and we're going to go up pretty flat to the face of the bricks that we're doing. And we're going to put the tool on a slight angle and do that. So we go through to all the bricks on one angle, and just random bricks. Pick a random brick and push it up like that. And then you tilt the tool down and go through and find some other bricks and do that. It just gives it a slight variation to it like that. There we go. Do the same to the other side.
Man, that just makes that whole surface sizzle, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Wow. That is so pretty.
Then, last and incredibly easy technique, just to give it some variation, and also you can see some of these lines that have started to kind of peek out from the Pal Tiya in and around here. This will dull those down a little bit, and we'll just give all of the bricks that we've got a nice texture. Something like that. And make them look more like rocks, even further. Here we go. Okay, next thing we're going to do is give a nice little detail to the edge, because you could go through and you could make sure that every single one of these line up, and you can make sure that it's all perfectly fine, but it just causes so many issues, and it just causes a headache when making large-scale sculptures like this church here. When you have so many different faces, so many different corners, trying to do that would be a nightmare. And you would find that if you went all the way around the house, you get to the other side and then it's completely different. So that's not a great option. So the other option is giving the corners a larger style of brick, starting off by doing this. So there you go. So just start off very simply adding a sausage onto the edge and making sure that it's square, making sure that it's flat. That's more important than having this edge straight. This edge can be a little bit wobbly like it is there. That's completely fine, and you'll see why in just a minute. But as long as this outer edge is sharp and these faces are fine, that's good.
Okay.
Then go through with the size of brick that you're after, like this, on both sides. And then these ones do need to go around, but that's okay. We can do that. Just like that. That's good. Okay. Now, you want them so that you've got a long brick like this, and then the next brick's like that, next brick's like this, next brick's like this. So, you pick a point to start, top or bottom, and you add a tiny amount there, and then you skip one, and then the next one.
Ah, I get it.
There you go. And then we do the same on the other side, but you alternate, so that this one's long, this one needs to be long this way.
Oh, oh, I get it.
Yeah. This one goes here. Just like that.
That is such a good solution to that problem.
Now, that looks great, but still needs to be cleaned up. So, let's go through flattening the faces. What we can do is we can actually take this tool, try not to get into your light too much.
Okay.
Like this, and just very carefully and slowly. You don't want to destroy all the brick texture you've made already. And you do this. There we go. And when it comes to bricks, it's just lots and lots of tweaking, making sure that things stay sharp, things stay square, things don't fall down. There we go. And the same on this side. Just like that. Like that.
Yeah. So I can see just the fewest number of strokes of the tool get you what you need.
Yep.
Ah, brilliant.
And if you're really fussy, you can go through and you can add those back in. You can actually punch it in like that if you really want. Just like that. And then, as we do with all bricks, ta-da! How does that look?
Remarkably good. So thanks to Zac for showing us how to do this beautiful technique with Pal Tiya Premium while performing at Weta Workshop in New Zealand. If you would like to see more of our videos, then please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the little bell to be notified when we release our next video. Until then, happy sculpting!